Hello and welcome back to the DC Perform podcast. My name is Rachel Weber.
And I'm Winell Gregg.
And today joining us, we have Joe Ituri, the general manager of Caesars Republic Scottsdale property, the first non-gaming property of Caesars Republic.
And what time of year is it? It's June, and that's when we start thinking about vacations, swimming in pools, eating with family, hanging out with friends, and we've got a great topic considering how hot this industry is in today's economy and also this time of year. No, I never understood all that about resorts and hotels, that behind the scenes look of what it takes to pull it off. And the little things that you don't appreciate when you're there, it just happens and you wonder at the end, wow, that was great, or oh, that wasn't so good. Now we have an idea of some of the activities that it takes to pull that off.
Thanks for tuning in to episode number 11 of the DC Perform podcast. Joe Ituri, you're the general manager for Caesars Republic Scottsdale with the HCW Group. Great to have you.
Great. Thank you very much. Very excited to be here, and thank you for having me.
We've been thrilled about this coming, and we've been talking about it for weeks just because Scottsdale is a happening town. It's growing. It's bringing in tourism, and when we get a premier brand hotel coming here with the amenities that it's offer, we're so lucky to have you. Thanks for joining us.
No, thanks. You know, this is Caesars' first non-gaming property in the country, and the fact that they chose Scottsdale to roll out this brand is really amazing for Scottsdale and the community and the state. So it's a new brand. We're creating everything, and nothing really exists like it so far.
Yeah, it's unique for sure. I mean, I live about a mile away from this exact property, and every single day I'm just more impressed with driving by it, seeing something new pop up on a different level and all that jazz. So
yeah. We're we're located right by Fashion Square Mall in the heart of downtown Scottsdale. We're really in the hub of all the entertainment, dining, everything that you would ever want is within walking distance of our property.
So when you mention Caesars, people have a perception of it because of the Las Vegas experience. How would you compare what you're doing here to what that would be for those who are familiar with it?
It's really a very unique and different experience. It's intended to attract Caesars Rewards members, but it's not intended to be gaming, and it never will be. Caesars Rewards has about 60 million members. So one of the objectives for this brand is to really continue to grow that membership in their key feeder markets. The nice part about it is if you're a Caesars Rewards member, you can redeem your points for stays at the hotel. You know, I think some of the next markets that we'll look at are Miami, potentially South Beach, Dallas, even Hawaii. So really there's about 20 primary markets identified with Caesars that will eventually evolve this brand into. And they'll all be very different and unique to their location. Scottsdale, we have a lot of natural light, water features, a lot of the natural woods and stones are part of our design and architecture. If you go to Miami, it'll look a lot like South Beach, a lot like Miami, and it'll have a lot of those characteristics. We really want to localize ourselves with the community.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in supply chain, we talk about the end customer experience, how businesses, bottom line is they want to create that great experience for them. And then when you think about what's trending right now with how people are using their disposable income, shifting from the commodity item type of buys to, hey, we want a great experience and we'd rather spend money on that. Could you give us some backdrop on how you're doing that and how that will impact the customer?
Sure. So we feel, and through a lot of market studies, there was a point in time where people were looking for consistency in their experience. So no matter what city they traveled to, what country they were in, they really expected a consistent experience. Now people really look for the unique individual experiences that are unique to the city and the location they're staying at. Yes, we're a part of Caesars, and yes, we're non-gaming. So we'll offer some of those options at our 7 pool and lounge. Arizona, you can gamble with sports on a sports app. So we'll provide a lounge on 7, which is our 7th floor lounge. We'll have about 20 TVs in there. So they can go up there, log into the Caesars Rewards app, and have a great experience through the sports app. We'll also offer things like health and wellness. We have an 8th floor terrace called Camelback Veranda, and Camelback Veranda is a 3,000 square foot space facing Camelback Mountain. It's absolutely beautiful outdoor space. And we'll do sunset yoga events there. Our fine dining restaurant is Luna by Giada De Laurentiis. So we might do yoga and pasta, learn how to make pasta at the same time. So really make it a very unique and fun experience. But I think people nowadays are looking for that. I think they really want to remember where they stayed, and they want to learn about the property they're staying at and their community they're staying at as well. So from a design perspective, architecture to experiential standpoint, it's really localizing that experience and making it unique and different to them.
Over the past few episodes of the DC Perform podcast, a huge topic has been that generational shift in buying power and how that new target customer looks a little bit different than it used to be. That younger generation that will be your target coming into the hotel, and did that have any impact on the way that you were building things and creating?
Yeah, we actually are targeting a little bit of an older demographic.
Oh, okay.
We're looking at somewhere really kind of in the mid-30s to mid-50s. So we'll still be a lifestyle property, but we're a little more on the luxury side. And it's funny, age is a state of mind. Yeah. So people in their 50s, like myself, or 40s, sometimes we feel like we're in our 20s or early 30s. So we still want, or not, yeah. When you wake up in the morning.
Don't tell him that. He's still in La La Land, yeah.
So but we still want to have those fun experiences, and but we can afford to have those too. So that's more of our target, who we're going after.
Okay, great.
Help us understand your procurement process. So you talked about regionalism. So would that mean that lots of your items are locally sourced? And not only just from the service and food element, but also the construction, the design of the hotel itself.
We had our groundbreaking in February of 2020. And then about 3 weeks later, everything shut down. HCW, our ownership group, they're developers. They've done a lot of projects throughout the country. They know what they're doing, and they were able to secure a lot of those key things like concrete and steel. And they were able to secure that before we shut down in March of 2020. They really had a huge benefit because once things started rolling again in April of last year, construction began again. All those materials were already secured, and they had full access. So there were no delays in anything. Our exterior glass all came from China. It all came on time, on schedule, and there were really there were minimal delays, but nothing, I would call it on time. Supply chain wasn't really an issue for us. Now, when we're looking at things like operating supplies and equipment, like coffee makers or plates or glassware, there's about an 8 to 10 week lead time on a lot of those things. We can plan for it as well. So right now we're securing a lot of those purchase orders and contracts to make sure that we have everything delivered on time and we're ready to open on time, even a little bit ahead of time if necessary.
And when you think of the food and beverage service you'll be offering and the variations of the guests that will be coming, how are you supporting that, thinking of the local food providers as well as national?
Sure. So as I mentioned earlier, Luna by Giada De Laurentiis is an experience that really doesn't exist right now in Scottsdale. It's truly more of a fine dining Italian experience, and we'll have about 80% of her staple items on our menu, but we're going more with an Italian coastal concept. So it'll be a little bit different. It's a new concept for her. She's extremely talented. She's amazing at what she does. I think she was on the Food Network for 20 years. She just switched over to Amazon, I believe. Offering that to Scottsdale and the local community is something new and different that I think everybody will really appreciate and enjoy. And her other concept called Pronto, which is more of her cafe, grab-and-go breakfast and lunch. There's one in Caesars Las Vegas currently. Her food there is amazing, and we're talking everything from paninis to croissants. Everything we do, we want to open to our neighbors as well in our local community. So we're hopeful that people living in the apartments, in condos, and homes near the hotel will utilize all of our food and beverage outlets. They want to go to 7 and just sit at the bar and, be on their Caesars Rewards app, put their bets in, and we'll provide all the games to them. And at the same time, that space at night will become more of a lounge with bottle service and music, and we'll do DJs. So they can have a completely different experience at night when they come back.
Growing up here, I was always going to the different pools at the different hotels, and that was such a foreign concept to people that lived out of state. They're like, why are you going to the hotels on the weekends? I'm like, just what we do here, you know?
Right.
So it's cool to see that that's continuing on in the patterns of the way that you're building this new hotel
Yeah.
and still keeping it open, because the locals here, we love to enjoy all the things that we have access to. So
How do you see technology being leveraged to forecast demand, to understand customer tendencies and demographics? How are you using that?
Fashion Square Mall does studies where they track essentially from every entrance who comes in and where they're from, all the demographics comes along with it. So we're participating with them on that study. So we can tell you exactly how many people entered from the north entrance to any store in the mall, from any entrance on any side, but the north is closest to us, so we're most interested in that. The technology today is amazing. It's a little bit scary in a way because it tracks your phone,
Yep.
pulls it off from your phone, but the amount of data you get is so helpful to us from a marketing perspective that we can really kind of hone in who we're going after. For us, a big thing from a technology standpoint is the Caesars Rewards members. We have so many ways we can reach those people and communicate what we're offering, what we're doing, who we are, and really kind of be top of mind for them as well. And to take it a step further, technology from an operational standpoint, essentially if someone makes a reservation at our hotel, if they wanted to through their Caesars app, they could check in. They don't have to go to the front desk. They don't have to wait in line if there's a line. So they can unlock their door from their phone to their room. I mean, that part for us is really big.
the experience really starts when the customer or the guest pulls up to the front entrance of the hotel. That experience needs to match the way that the hotel looks and feels, and you don't want one to be better than the other. Are there any key elements in ensuring everything is on par with the way that the design and the feel and the look all blends together to
Yep.
create that ideal world-class experience for the
Yes.
customer?
I mean, it is the key. Some would argue that the experience starts when you make your reservation and you get your confirmation. But for me, the personal experience really starts the minute they pull into our drive. And the valet attendant, how they're greeted, how they're welcomed, is their name being used? Essentially, everyone has an expectation when they come to a hotel. And our goal is to exceed those expectations. So knowing we're a brand new property with great amenities and amazing service, expectation is pretty high. How do we beat that expectation that they have? And for us, our focus and training is probably more than I've ever experienced before. Brand training, culture training, service training. If you're a new employee starting at Caesars Republic and it's your first day on the job, you'll spend probably the first couple days just learning about what is the brand about, who are we, what's our soul. Any employee is asked, okay, what's Caesars Republic all about? Who are you guys? That everybody answers consistently the same way. That's what we're trying to achieve. It starts there, but it doesn't end there. In the industry, there's a saying that you can have a guest come and they have a great stay, nothing goes wrong, and it's good, and then they kind of forget about it. But somebody could come to the hotel have a poor experience, but the way we recover could leave a lasting memory for a lifetime for them, and they come back. They become loyal guests and loyal customers forever.
Let's touch on one of those. When a guest, after they've come through the lobby, they go up to their room, and something about the room isn't right. Take us inside a day-to-day life as a general manager. What are the activities that have to happen when a guest leaves a room to when the new guest arrives? Help us understand that. I've always been fascinated by that.
From a checkout process, checking out's fairly easy because you can do it on your phone. The housekeeping process is very intense, especially nowadays with cleanliness. Everyone still has room attendants probably have one of the most important jobs in the hotel. For us, that new room clean and fresh and looking like it's new as long as we possibly can. But there's a lot that goes into cleaning sheets, cleaning towels, cleaning floors, windows, the walls, the ceilings, making sure that the air conditioning filters are clean, making sure that everything's in working condition, the chemicals that are needed for the cleaning. We don't want people to really have to think about that.
Right.
That's not what they're paying for. It just happens. Yeah, it just happens. And on the back end, ordering all the supplies, the purchasing, the procurement. Where do you store your housekeeping carts? Where do you store your linen? We have a big laundry chute everything goes down. We contract our laundry with a third party, with a partner. They come and they pick it up, and then they take it, and then they have their whole processes of, their cleaning facility, and then bringing it back to the hotel, and where does it go, and then how do you get it back to the room, and there's a whole cycle. For us, it's just kind of part of the norm. But if you really think about it and drill down, there's a lot of steps that are involved. It's there. Yeah, it is. It's theater. Yeah, it really is. Yeah, exactly.
How have you been impacted by the guests' conscience now about environment? Certain hotel chains are pulling back on the soaps and the shampoos. What used to be given away, now it's more in a dispense type item. Help us understand that evolution that you've been through for this hotel that's different.
Sure. I mean, we're participating in the large volume amenities in the guest rooms. So when you walk into our shower, you'll have 3 bottles. If you think of the plastic alone, that when you use the small bottles in a hotel, if a guest uses it once, you can't put it back in the room. You have to discard it. With these reusable bottles, once a bottle goes down, it's taken out of the room, it's cleaned, it's refilled, and it's repurposed back into the room. So there's really no waste from a plastic perspective. For our straws, where our goal is to not use plastic straws. There's good options out there that are biodegradable. Each of the rooms will have a recycle basket. Meeting space will have recyclable. Back of house, everything will be recyclable. There's a local organization called Waste Not that we'll partner with for all of our food. If we have a big event and there's a bunch of food that we haven't used, for us, we're going to get as close to zero waste as we can.
And do the cities and county and state incent you to do that, or is that something that you're doing as a business practice?
We're doing it as our own business practice, yeah. And and it's a brand new hotel, so the efficiencies from an air conditioning, electrical, we'll be able to really monitor. I can monitor anything from my phone. The temperature, anything happens, I'll be able to see it right away so we can address things.
Water is such a huge issue right now in Arizona. Did you guys have any issues in the building process of Caesars in regards to water? Anything with the design elements in regards to water? Can you walk us through that?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we have a beautiful artistic piece in front of the hotel by the front drive that was originally designed to be a water feature with fire. Since then, we've transitioned it to be this really amazing, it's almost like a light-up globe with this metal arch that comes around it. So we've done away with the water element and replaced it with a light element. We want to do everything we can to be conscious and respectful of water. It's such a precious thing here, especially for us in the desert here. We have 2 pools, but we have very efficient systems that will process the water to keep it clean with minimal evaporation. One great thing about it from an energy perspective, not so much water, but all of our rooms will be essentially smart rooms. Someone checks out of the room. We have blackout drapes that will come down automatically, and the temperature goes to a preset higher number, so that if no one's in the room, there's very little energy being used in the room. But the minute someone checks in, the drapes go up, the curtains open, and the temperature goes to the other preset amount, so that when you walk in, it's a nice temperature, see the light. We'll have that automation built into the hotel.
The percentage of your business that you're forecasting for conferences, larger venues compared to just the families that are coming in, how do you see that breaking up?
So we're really focusing on, we call it group business. And group business to us means they stay at the hotel, they meet at the hotel, they eat at the hotel, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then they go out and they'll enjoy the hotel, whether it's at 7 or the lobby or Luna Bar. Our goal is essentially to try and drive group business midweek, because the leisure traveler typically travels on the weekends. We expect to be about 25% of our business will be group, of our room night business.
Yeah. Do you find a difference in expectations of those 2 different guests?
The group customer is there to work, but they're there to have fun after work. The leisure guest is really there to enjoy the property day and night.
How do you differentiate departments at the highest levels, and what are the key elements and purpose they have?
On a high level, we'll have a food and beverage director that oversees all the food and beverage operations, including banquets and meetings, working with our partners like Jada, Riot Hospitality at 7, and making sure that we succeed in their concepts are working to accomplish. And then from the rooms division, that which really incorporates our front office, our housekeeping, our security, our bellmen, valets, that there'll be another person responsible for overseeing those functions as well. Engineering, our chief engineer will be responsible for making sure that all the equipment is properly serviced and preventative maintenance happens. And then we'll have, our sales team that are responsible for making sure that rooms are filled and the food and beverage outlets are filled. And then we also have human resources, our finance people, making sure that our financially we're sound and solid, our expenses are in line. And
So when you do a staff meeting with just your direct reports, help us understand some of the KPIs that you hold as being critical.
so for us, guest service, guest feedback is our number one indicator. They're happy, we're happy. We also challenge ourselves to try and see what more can we do. And then financial. It's a big investment our owner has in this property. It needs to be successful, and it will be successful. Even before that is our employee satisfaction.
Right.
At the end of the day, if you don't have that, you can't accomplish the other two. Creating a culture that embraces everybody, everyone kind of sees the vision, can count on each other for support. If the guest needs something, our culture will be one that you don't pass it off to whatever department that is. You personally take ownership of it, and you see it through until the guest is satisfied.
Culture is something that's grown into something so valuable in businesses nowadays. A lot of times I'll leave a business or a setting where I'm interacting with the people of that business, and when I see that they are happy in what they're doing and they care, that impacts the way I feel about that brand.
The Phoenix market's still rebounding from COVID and particularly hard hit in the food and service industry. How are you managing that, staffing up, and also for retention of them once you start?
The Phoenix market, from a hotel perspective, is doing very well. Average rates are stronger than ever. Occupancy has continued to climb. RevPAR, which is our revenue per available room, of the top 25 markets in the country, I believe Phoenix is top 5 for growth. Someone asked me what's keeping me up at night. It's hiring, being able to hire good quality people. I saw an article yesterday that questioned, is a great resignation over? I think it's definitely going in that direction. What I hear from my counterparts is that they're filling positions easier now than they have been over the last couple of years. That's encouraging. Making sure we find people that really care and quality is there. I'm hopeful that once we open, we'll have people that want to work and people that really care about working and want to be there. But it's a tough market. I think employee housing is really one of the biggest causes of it. Where do employees live? If they work in Scottsdale, a lot of our employees can't afford to rent a one-bedroom apartment in Scottsdale. It gets very expensive. So they have to go out. So a lot of the places are actually buying apartment units, condominiums for their employees to live in.
Well, that was awesome. I'm so excited for this hotel to open.
Yeah, thank you.
See it all come to life.
So give us a 30-second commercial.
This is a property, first of its kind. It'll offer Scottsdale and people that come to Scottsdale something new and different in a location that you just can't beat. It's a new brand. It's a non-gaming brand. It's connected with Caesars. And I would say if someone is looking, whether it's a group or it's a social event or a fundraiser event, we have so many great venues that we can offer and so many great experiences that are different that we can offer.
And the grand opening is?
Well, it'll be February, sometime in February.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where do we make reservations?
Yeah, right, soon enough. Yeah, we'll actually have, that's a great point. We expect to have our reservations booking engine ready to go by August.
Oh, wow.
And right now you can book a group starting April of 2024.
Well, congratulations, Joe. We're
Yeah,
really
thank you very
looking
much.
forward to this premier event and premier venue in Scottsdale. And for the rest of the world, come visit us.
Yeah.
Thank
there
you.
go.
Likewise. And thank you for having me today. I appreciate it. And great questions. And thank you for everything. Thanks for your support.